Hey everyone, today's lesson is on graphing inequalities. So in your math journal, I want you to open up to your table of contents and write this title, Graphing Inequalities. Then go ahead and open up to your next page, next blank page in your math journal, and again write this title on that page. We'll go ahead and cut out your notes and tape them in later after we're done writing. Okay, so once that is done, you should have a paper that looks like this. And we're going to be taking notes on this side about graphing inequalities. So inequalities are when we use the greater than, this is greater than, less than, or equal to sign. That is an inequality. And then graphing them is what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be graphing those greater than, less than, or equal to expressions. So the first one that we want to look at is less than. Okay, so when we're talking about less than, maybe actually on the front of this foldable, we're going to actually cut this out so it makes those flappies. So on the front of this rectangle, I want you to write the sign for less than. Okay, so this is the sign for less than. We want you to write that. And this sign, just as its meaning, it means less than. So an example would be x is less than 2. Okay, and you guys have seen this type of inequality before. We don't know what x equals necessarily, but we do know that it's less than 2. Okay, so in your head, you're probably just thinking, oh, it has to be either 1 or 0, but that's not true. It could be any of our negative numbers that we've been talking about lately as well. So x is less than 2. We don't know what it is, but we have some hints. So now how we have to graph this. Okay, first we need to number our number line here. So I'm going to start in the middle, moving to the right, our increasing digits, moving to the left are our negative numbers. Okay, so we have our number line. And if I have x is less than 2, what I'm going to do is go to the number 2, so this 2 on the number line. I'm going to draw a circle. Okay, this time it's super important that we leave that circle hollow. Do not color it in. Okay, and I'll explain more of a reason why here in just a little bit. So we're going to put an open circle on the number 2. And if x is less than 2, it means it could be any of these numbers to the left. So we're going to draw a line that points to the left. Okay, so this is how I would graph the inequality x is less than 2. So it's at the 2, and it could be any number to the left of it on the number line. So the next one is less than or equal to. So if on the front of this flap, you'll want to write this symbol. So it's a less than sign with like the bottom half of an equal symbol. So less than or equal to. An example of this could be that n is less than or equal to 3. Okay, so it starts off the same. We don't know what n is, but we do know that it's less than, so it has to be smaller than 3 or equal to 3. So it could either be any number that's 3 or lower. So to graph this, first we got to renumber our number line here. Okay, and just like in the last example, we're going to go n is less than or equal to 3. So I have to go to the 3 on the number line. But this time, since it can be equal to 3, we have to color it in. Okay, so that is the difference between less than, which gets the hollow, and less than or equal to gets a filled in circle. Okay, so it can be equal to 3, so it gets colored in, but then it could also be any of these numbers that are less than 3. So you draw your line with your arrow pointing towards the left. Hopefully this is sounding somewhat of a review. I know that you guys talked about this in 6th grade, so hopefully it's sounding like a review. So now we have our greater than symbol, so greater than means that it would be opening up to the left. Okay, so greater than, for example, x is greater than, let's go with 0. Okay, so if x is greater than 0, I'm going to number my number line. Forgot about that part. Okay, so I don't know what x is, but I do know that it's greater than 0. So I'm going to go to 0 on my number line, put a circle there. We're going to leave it open, an open circle, because that means that we know it's not equal to, but it's just greater than. So if it's greater than 0, it means it can be any of these numbers that are larger than 0. So it can be any number to the right of 0. I didn't mention this before, but if you need to, you can always pause your video and get caught up with the writing if you need to. And then just press play when you're ready to resume. Okay, our next example is greater than or equal to. I'm going to change my color here. Let's go with I'll pick a nice pink color. Okay, so greater than or equal to. So similar to our last one, we got our greater than sign or equal to. So it means it can be greater than or even equal to that number. So let's come up with a variable. This time I'll use the letter T. And let's say T is greater than or equal to, we could write -2. Again, I don't know what T equals, but I do know that it's either greater than or equal to 2. So when we graph this, we're going to label our number line. Sorry, I feel like I should have filled these in for you. This is kind of tedious work here. Okay, we have the number -2, so we're going to go to the number -2, put a circle, and this time we're going to color it in. So we're going to shade in the circle so it is a full circle. And then if T is greater than, our line should move all in the positive direction for all the numbers that are bigger than -2. And then we'll put that arrow at the end there, so that way you show that it's going to continue to go in that direction. All right, last one that we're going to do here, not equal to. Okay, not equal to, the symbol for that would be an equal sign with this diagonal slash through it. So if it's not equal to that, it means it could be any other number besides that. So for example, we could use the letter A is not equal to, A is not equal to, let's go with 0. Okay, so this one's a little bit different when we're graphing this. We have our number line. Okay, so I don't know a whole lot about this variable. I know all I do know is that it's not 0. So when we graph this, we put our circle at 0. We keep it hollow because, right, it's not equal to that. It can't be 0. And that's all I really know about it. So if we have the not equal to sign, we make arrows that go off in both directions. Okay, this is different because we have lines and arrows go in both directions, whereas the previous 4, it only went in one direction. But for this one, I don't know if it's greater than or less than, so it has to go in both directions because all I know about the variable for sure is that it does not equal 0. I don't know if it's greater, I don't know if it's less than, so that's why we put the arrows going off in both directions. Okay, so that's it for today's directions. You can go ahead and cut out this large rectangle and then make cuts on these these dotted lines here so that you're making your flaps, and then get this taped into your math journal. Have a great day.